So, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Good morning, Kristaps. Did I say it correctly?
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you. It's a very, very strange situation still. I mean, we all know that, of course, but I'm really happy that we have this chance, thanks to the great Riga Jurmala Festival, to kind of meet this morning and to have a common goal and to keep working a bit on different things. I think it's so important for us musicians to still have the feeling that, you know, life goes on. We try to adapt, and hopefully in a few months it will be over or we'll be back to normality. But yeah, I'm really, really happy to be here. And yeah, let's start with some Bach. I heard now you are playing the fourth suite.
Yeah.
Right? The Prelude. Great.
Yeah.
So why don't you play the Prelude once? Yeah, we will try to cover both movements, and we'll just give you a few tips and ideas. And looking forward to listening to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Great, beautiful, bravo. Really, really nice. It's a pleasure to listen to that, especially in the morning. No, it's a typical waking up piece, I would say. I mean, for you, of course, it's already going on around in the early morning. And I want to tell everyone who is watching, maybe it doesn't look so spectacular, but this prelude is one of the most difficult, actually, because the intervals are a bit strange. The tonality, E flat major, is a bit strange on the cello. So I really want to congratulate you for that, because the intonation was really good, yeah, and it can be quite a big problem in this prelude. So congratulations. The only intonation thing I really noticed was the A flat here. Yeah. So every time when you have this A flat, make sure that before you play it, that you really check if it's at the right place. Especially in that passage, that was the 4th and 5th lines. It comes quite often, and I was a little bit surprised because you didn't corrected it. Yeah, even if it came a few times, the feeling maybe you were enjoying your beautiful playing so much, maybe that you forgot about those A flats. Yeah, but apart from this, really, intonation was really great. So that's one thing. The other thing now is what I want to talk about is, of course, the vision that one has about a prelude, especially in this case. What I loved about your interpretation is that it was extremely a bit Glenn Gould style, you know, like very schlicht, we say in German. It means like not too involved, and you just let the music speak for itself, actually, yeah, which is extremely nice. I still have a question though. Is it really on purpose that you have this kind of one sound and one color for the whole prelude, or does it have to do maybe with some little technical issues with the bow, especially, that you can't shape as much as you wish you could do it? Because for my taste, I would shape the whole prelude a bit more, actually. It doesn't have to be spectacular also, but sometimes I wish that, you know, we would follow the harmonies, the bass lines in a clearer way that shows us that there are lines, there are arcs, you know, and all those kind of things. So, of course, with Bach, everybody is totally free to play it how they want, yeah? So I don't want to change anything. If you tell me, no, that's my vision, I just want to play it peacefully like that, then we're fine. But if you want maybe to shape a little bit more and to show more lines, that's something we could work on now, because I have the feeling that it's a little bit almost too relaxed and too passive sometimes, if I may say, yeah? So what do you have to say about that? I would be curious to know.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I have technical issues to play it more involved, but I think in this prelude, he has so many harmonies and those that I think that you have to enjoy what he has written. But yeah, I agree with you that I'm not involved.
That's interesting. Yeah. So maybe what we could do is just to take a few examples and see what we can do. I mean, in general, for Bach, I think what is so interesting is that if you listen to other pieces from Bach, yeah, choir pieces or orchestral pieces or organ pieces, you know, he was an incredible organ player, and we all know that there are different registers, and sometimes the sound of the organ is huge, especially when the accords are sounding. It can be extremely powerful, and sometimes it can be very intimate. So personally, I have the feeling that he must have had all those different colors and atmospheres in the sound, you know, in his head, right? So when I play it, of course, the cello, one has to say really clearly, doesn't have as many possibilities maybe as an organ, you know, because you can't just press on a button and then you get a much smaller sound or this kind of effects. But I think especially in a technical way, because we all also practice the Bach suites to improve our technical skills, no? So if we just consider this piece in that direction, I think it's extremely exciting to try to explore all those different sound possibilities. In the end, you can decide if you use it or not, but at least we have tried, you know, to produce all those different sounds now. So when you start, exactly, what I really enjoy about your sound is that it's at least here, and I hope really for real as well, but I can imagine that it's not only because of the micros, but it is very warm and very even also, yeah, that's something I really enjoyed. So I don't want to disturb that, but when you have this, for instance, you know, this chord is so dissonant, no, and so strong. Here, I wish we had maybe a sound that is more tense, you know. So if you want to bring this out so that your sound is moving with the harmonies, then we would need to work a bit on some technical things. For instance, the way you play this C. That's always the thing with Bach, of course, for in the cello suite, especially in this prelude, we don't know the harmony yet, no? Because first we hear one note. It could be anything. It could be. Yeah, but no, it's. So I think it's quite nice, even if the chord is not audible yet, to already play this C with the character that is coming after with the harmony, no? So when I play it, I already go closer to the bridge to get this intensity in that note, you know? So that after, here also, and then he's insisting, you know? So, and then again. So this is one spot, for instance, where I have been working a lot to produce the sound almost like in Dvorak concerto, you know? It might sound terrible, you know, to compare Bach and Dvorak, but I think if you have a very developed skill with the bow technique, you can serve the music for the intensity, for the colors even better, you know? So here I wouldn't be afraid of going to try to go really deep in the string, close to the bridge, so that you have this whole word, and then you can relax here. Yes, and then here, for instance, I will. I mean, whether you agree or not to do it, it's, as I say, I really want to leave it up to you, yeah? But here, after this intensity, what I feel personally is that there is a sort of resignation, you know? And we know that Bach had those feelings in himself, yeah? He was an extremely passionate human being also, yeah? So if you want to add this dimension also to this prelude, then here you could let us hear maybe this despair or you know, that he's completely lost all of a sudden, you know? You have the feeling he's fighting for something, but then you have, and then almost as if everything would be finished, you know? And then from there, yeah? So here that would be the opposite. Instead of going close to the bridge, what I would do personally is going every time a bit further to to the fingerboard, and play always lighter and lighter, so that in the end, you know, the sound is really, you can really hear that the atmosphere is changing. And then maybe it's hard for you to hear now, also with the mics. Of course, you always have to adjust to the place where you are playing now, so that it's always audible. But what I would do, if I had to play in a church or in a concert hall, I would check before the concert how far I can go in the piano, and then to play really as soft as possible, so that everyone has to do like this, actually, to be able to hear it still, yeah? So those were two spots where I wanted to show you how far you can go in the dynamics and in the technical possibilities in terms of sound now. So I'm really sorry I've been talking for so long, but with Bach, of course, you need to explain a bit and you know, to put it in a context, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So now I really want you to try that, if you agree, right? So why don't we do the following? Play the beginning as you did with the sound that you have, and then we will go to those two spots to see the difference. That's nice. So this is your beginning sound, so to say, yeah? I would play it a little bit more open, but I don't know if you want to try or if you want to leave it like this.
Sorry, I didn't hear the word for the playing.
I would play it a bit more open, a little bit more feeling the room, you know, so that you have the feeling, because there is something very positive about this tonality, I think, yeah? So, and it is very rich also in the sound, so maybe you could try to open it a little bit more right from the beginning, yeah? Do you want to try?
Yeah.
That's great. I like that very much. Yeah, it's still warm, but it's a little bit more, you know, the prelude is the opening movement of the whole suite, right? And you know that first suite, second suite, third suite, every suite is getting a bit bigger in its dimension now, and the sixth suite is actually a huge, it has nothing to do with the first suite in the end, you know, it's so far already in the development. So the fourth suite is already quite big, you know, so I would really open it in a very confident and open way, yeah? So that was great. So now, do you have bar numbers?
No, but I...
No? Exactly. So maybe you could play from here. And then you change the color, yeah? So that's from
E. Yeah.
Yes, that's great. That's great. What is so nice is I see that you really go for it, yeah? I could feel it now, you know, inside of yourself, and I think it's a great thing, you know, because sometimes you can tell that somebody is not really feeling it, and of course it makes it more difficult. Yeah. So the only thing I want to ask you now is to try to be confident, and it's always difficult with Bach, right? Because in general, when you play it in the normal tempo, you can't go so close to the bridge, because otherwise the sound gets a bit ugly. It's always difficult now, but when you practice it slowly, I think it's always a wonderful thing to go for this really rich sound that you will find closer to the bridge than to the fingerboard, you know, so that all the harmonies are coming out. So, of course, in the end, when you play it, you will have to adjust a little bit and probably go a little bit back to the to that direction again. But here, try to do, just for me, just from here. Could you play this C? Just play the C once, as close as you can from the bridge. Yes, good. And one other thing, I don't even want to talk about it because I'm talking way too much already, but for now, without vibrato. Yeah, so that's, I'm not against vibrato in Bach at all, but I think for now what we are looking for is coming from here first, yeah? Exactly, so you need to put a lot of weight and especially to sustain. And I don't know if you can see it, but I'm almost on the bridge. Yeah, so I really try to play with that, to go as far as I can. Can you try? Yes. Try one more time. Even more weight. Exactly. That's actually, I'm always happy when it gets to the point that that it sounds like this, because it proves me that you are really trying, you know. It's extremely important, especially now, of course, we have some visibility. I know that, of course, but when you are alone in your practice room, I think it's much better if sometimes this happens, because at least you are trying to go that way. And of course, at first your cello will maybe react also in an aggressive way, asking you, what are you doing? Usually you were always playing so nice, and all of a sudden you ask me, you know, to be like this. So this is totally normal, but I think if you do it, you open a new door in your sound possibilities and your technical possibilities. So this was for the A string. Now, try, this is more difficult because it's G string, it's slow, it's heavy, and it's in up bow, yeah? So, try that. Yes, here again, please no vibrato for now, so that you can really hear what your bow is doing. I don't think you will be so far at the tip. I think you will be probably around here now. So that you play, and then... Yes, look, you... it's hard to show now, but I try not to play here, not here, but I try even here, you know. It looks minimal, you know, but it can make a big difference, yeah? And in addition to that, you really have to have this finger working a lot, and what helps a bit so that you don't end up playing like this, which is not the goal at all, you can even put your arm here a little bit higher so that you help, you know, so that this shoulder should remain as relaxed as possible, and then you get some extra strength here, so that try once and you stay as close as possible to the bridge.
From the C?
Yeah. Yes, okay. And then of course the wolf is coming out on the F sharp. That's the classical, right? So of course you will have to find a way with this, no? Maybe you can, do you have no, you don't have anything, right? Wolf killer. I don't see one on your cello.
No, wolf killer, no.
Yeah, maybe that's something you could consider it also, no? Because this F sharp is of course key in the tension of the chord, no? So if you have to play it soft because of the wolf, that would be a shame, no? So maybe you could look for you know, there are different ones.
Yeah.
There's this model.
I got
one. Huh?
Actually, I got one.
Okay.
But it killed the wolf on the F sharp only a little bit.
Yeah.
And it started to a little bit influence other notes. So
I know. It's sometimes it can be quite tricky to find the right adjustment. I know it's complicated. You will see in your development how much, but I think it's good to try to reduce at least a little bit, so that there is some sort of improvement. But okay, so let's do those two notes again. Can you do it one more time? Yes. Yeah. I can already hear a difference from here, yeah? So try to play now from here. We do everything a bit slower so that we can really have the time to shape this sound. So play from... and then crescendo. Can you try to, I don't know if you could hear it, if it was opening? Yeah? Great, so try exactly the same. Yes, great. Okay, so there are a few little ways to make this happening, So we talked about the place of the bow. So you go closer, and then of course more weight. But there is also something important, is the way how you sustain the note. Yeah, because I don't think there is a tendency to play Bach always with a sort of relaxation at the end of the note, which is very nice for many spots in this music. But I think in this place, since we're not an organ, but we still want to create this tension, plus we're not in a church where the sound, the notes are, that's also something we shouldn't forget, that this music was always thought in a church most of the time. So you had those notes staying forever, and accumulating, so that you had this increase of tension, which is so magical, So since we're not in a church, we need to create this resonance even more, I think. Which is why for this place I would really sustain. So in the end I play actually almost a romantic legato. This could be shocking also. But I think it helps to get to this huge organ sound in a church. That's my personal feeling about it. Of course, you don't have to agree, but I think that if you release the notes, of course you lose the tension immediately because the sound is vanishing too early. So try just maybe from here. Close to the bridge, a lot of weight and very legato. Mm-hmm. Yes, and good. And here again, please try to, I think it's really important about the vibrato. Again, when you practice, if you add the vibrato too early, you can't really efficiently see what your bow is doing. So I would always advise you to separate the way you work. No? So first, I would really work only on the bow without any vibrato at all. Plus, in the end, especially here where there is so much tension, I don't think personally that vibrato is necessary because it makes the sound round and nice again. Yes, but this we had already in other tonalities, like at the beginning or so. But here, I think the tension is so strong that if you add vibrato, it makes it actually weaker, right? So, but that's my personal point of view. But for a practical point of view, I think if you practice if you work on your bow technique, you should always leave the vibrato aside for a moment, So try the same without vibrato. Yes. Yes. Yes, and try even more, sustaining even more. Yes. Can you just play this note? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Now I can hear it. That's great, yeah? So if you take it apart, maybe it might sound a bit shocking, you know, because it's quite extreme. But now I finally hear a different sound coming out of your cello, yeah? And I really think that this prelude deserves it. You know, I don't think it should be played all the way through with this beautiful sound that you have, which is already great, you know? But I think this passage deserves more, you know. So we will leave that for now, but I would be really happy if you want to work that way, and there are a lot of other places, right, where you can just use it. I think this one is the most spectacular one, but I think if you play with those three elements, weight, place of the bow, and the way you sustain. Sometimes you release when it's relaxed, sometimes you just don't let the note go so that the chord gets this intensity like this, you know, with the sustained feeling. Because if you, as soon as you relax, it goes like this again. And then the whole prelude sounds, you know, like a nice walking all the time. That's really how it sounded like a nice walk in the early morning, yeah? But especially in those difficult times, I think there are some really dark thoughts or some sad feelings coming out also in this prelude sometimes. So for those to be expressed and heard, I think you need this, what we talked about, okay? So now let's try the other place, maybe from here. Sorry, and try to do what I did before, just as an experiment. You don't have to do it later if you don't agree, but I would just be curious to hear. Yeah? So you start strong and then you try to vanish step by step. Yeah. Sorry. I was confusing. From here, yeah. Okay, from what I can hear here, I would say you've reached a good mezzo piano. Yeah?
Could be, yeah.
Try to reach, of course it's also shocking again for Bach, but try to think it's pianissimo in the end, or almost not audible. So exaggerate much more. Yeah? One more time? Okay, good. Yeah, so here I can see indeed a few technical skills that are missing maybe. So when you play, there are a few things I'm using, as you can say. So less weight, more and more, and then what I use also very important is this angle, you know? When you play like this, you have all the hairs, of course, so you have this rich and full sound, and the more you go that way, the less hair you have, no? So the color is gonna change also through that, right? Mm-hmm. So this is something I would do, and then, of course, I would go back, okay? So weight, angle, going to the fingerboard, and very important, of course, the amount of bow you are using, no? So first I take almost half of the bow, and then progressively always less and less and less, and then in the end I would just play, you know, yeah. so that I can really hear that. And even if you play pianissimo, very important is to always still feel some sort of contact with the string, because otherwise it starts to shake a bit also, right? Okay. So what I do is that I try to have the contact here with this finger, and even if it's super soft, it's really important to stay with a good contact on the string. So even if you play only with 2 hairs in the end, those 2 hairs, really use them so that you always have this contact with the string. Okay? Can you try one more time? Okay, that's good. It's coming, yeah, but it's still not. I think you can do even more. As an image, it's very simple. Try to think that every note is a little bit less. Try to be extremely efficient and make sure that every note is a bit softer than the previous one. And be also careful on the D string. It's quite soft, but then when you play the G string, for instance, it sounds a bit louder again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So try, even if there are always those waves, you know, what I want to hear is this. You know, I don't want to hear this anymore because we have it the whole time. So I think here it's extremely interesting if you manage to let us hear a line that's going to nothing, you know, and don't let us hear this again. One more time, please. Great. It's really coming very well. Can you try the last one from? Yes, even here also try to think almost legato, because if you don't play legato, I have this kind of impulse on every note again, and that makes it sound too loud. So maybe try to think almost legato, so that it's really out of breath, you know. You are way too healthy still in the end, yeah? You should have the feeling that it's one last breath coming out, you know, and you have no strength anymore, yeah? Can you try that last part? Yeah, so here again, try to keep this finger very strong on the string so that it doesn't shake. Yes! Bravo! Yes! That was great, yeah?
Thank you.
It feels probably very exotic right now.
Yeah.
Yes?
So
and
fragile.
That very?
Sorry, so fragile.
Yes,
I'm a little bit afraid from it.
Yeah, but it was great. I mean, I could really hear it now. It was fantastic. And as I told you, technically extremely important that this finger is really active so that it stays on the string, and you can you can really rely on those few hairs remaining, you know, in the end. So that you don't feel like, oh God, I have no ground anymore. You still have a ground. It's very important, even if you are just walking like this on it, but the ground is still there. The ground is those few hair remaining, the string, of course, and the index to keep the stability. Yeah. And if you work in that direction, it's spectacular, really. I really loved it. Yeah, bravo for changing that so quickly. And of course, again, I really want to make sure everybody understands. if you don't want to play it that way, in the end, it's no problem at all. Yeah, it's just interesting to open new doors, and I think personally that musically, and then even you know, from a vision of this prelude, I think it makes sense because it gives it more dimension. You know, it's always like this with Bach. You can be satisfied with a very little church, but you could also think it's a huge cathedral right away. It's just a question of perception, you know. But okay, and one last thing I wanted to say about the prelude is here also, I'm not quite sure that this here also it's everybody has its point of view, but I don't. What I hear now are I just hear 16ths most of all, you know, and I think it's a bit more than that. Also, I think it is a little bit more like toccata and fugue, you know, with organ again, where improvisation was part of it. We don't know. I mean, I personally don't know how much rubato they were doing, but I think it's something. Usually we're surprised to see how much fantasy they had back then, you know. Mm-hmm. And Bach became, of course, so serious now. But I don't think that he was playing da da di da di da di da di da di da 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 da. Yeah, I think there was more than that. Yeah, so you can do it with a little bit of rubato if you want. I would play it also slightly faster and more gesture. You know, so that we really hear, and then going to the. One thing we are sure of, or I'm sure of, is that the lines are showing you the dynamics very often in Baroque music, right? So I would really go. Here I would really go. I would go for this E flat, you know, on the top one, and then go back again, yeah? And then here... I would really go to this chord, you know, and if you play too much... For me, also, you can do it, but I think it's a little bit too... I don't know, I think there is a bigger dimension in that music than that, you know. So this is just something I wanted to mention, yeah. We don't need to work on it now, but don't play 16th, yeah. Play waves, play lines, arcs, it doesn't matter which vision you have, or think about an oboe, an organ, all of that, you know, but more fantasy in the end. Yeah, more fantasy, so that it's not just playing the notes properly, you know. Okay, do you have any question? Anything that's not clear?
No, actually, everything made sense more than I thought. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Great. If you want, either we keep working a bit on that in the we have 10 minutes, or did you want to play maybe the beginning of the sarabande also?
Actually, I would like to hear your thoughts about it.
Great. So let's do a bit of the sarabande, yeah? sounds great. I really enjoy your warm sound. It's beautiful, really. And intonation also is really good. Bravo. Two things I was wondering about, or maybe one thing actually, most of all, is this rhythm. I think there are mainly two ways to do it. Either you just play it the way it's written, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, or you do it a little bit more Baroque style, so to say, where you stretch a little bit, pa-pa, you know, almost not quite like ouverture à la française, you know, when right. So this is ouverture à la française with this stretch, you know, Lully and all those great composers. And here it's a dance, of course, you know that sarabande is a dance. So the question is how much dancing you want to have it, right? So I would totally respect if you just play simply the rhythm that's written, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Or you could a little bit more dancing, you know. What I hear now is that you play the papa, you play it very early and quite differently every time also. It's the tendency is that it's too early, plus the rhythm is not quite there. You know, I think it's not a prelude anymore, it's a dance. I think the rhythm is essential, you know. You have to feel it here all the time, no? Of course, you do have some freedom in the bar, but the beats should always be on time, I think. Otherwise, your dancers might look at you in a quite, you know, quite angry way, you know? And we don't want this to happen. So try to know exactly which pulse you want for the piece. If you want it, you know, fast, slow, this is a key question. First, how fast do I want to play it? Because we know that there are very, very contemplative versions of sarabande. Yeah, we have heard everything already in those bar suites. Yeah, so it could be. Yeah, there are some playing so slow, and others. Yeah, sorry, it's quite cold in the apartment because I moved out, so everything it's empty and cold. But those are the essential things, no? How zügig you want to play, how dancing or very contemplative. But once you have decided, stick to it. Because you can't, I don't want to hear different tempis in every bar, you know? It wasn't that bad, of course, but yeah. And this element, yam, babam, babam, should be extremely well thought also in advance, so that this figure remains more or less the same throughout the dance. Okay, so let's just check the beginning to shape it better. Great. So it was much better, I thought, for the first time. And then you got back a bit, you have this tendency to play. I exaggerate a bit, but you play it earlier and you put a sort of accent on it. This I'm not sure. I think it should always be yam, ba-bam, ba-ba. Especially, it's interesting because in sarabande we say that sometimes the second beat I mean, most of the time the second beat is the more important in the sarabande. In this particular case, it's a bit strange, no? Because the strong beats, they always feel on the downbeat, on the first beat. So that's also the question. If you still want to aim for that second beat, so that you would play the chord on the first beat quite relaxed to go to the second beat, and then same thing. Yeah, so now I shaped it to the second beat, but in this sarabande is a bit, we don't quite know, maybe it's just going to the first beat and then you relax. What I'm sure about though, is that it should never be, this I don't think is quite right. So I would always play pa-pam with direction, going to the next note, and not too early also, because again then you have this feeling that the pulse is not quite there. Yeah. So why don't you play, because the beginning was much better, maybe from here. Okay, well, I see another thing also is, of course, the bowing. I mean, what I do is always, if you play down, down, yeah, make sure to articulate so that it's always dancing and not too much like this. Or what I do is I retake, because I think it has something, it has the lift for the chord, and then the yam, pa, pa, and then the articulation. Yeah? It's, in the end, it's really like when you dance, when you put the feet on the ground, you have this, it's like playing the chord, yam, and then pa, pa. Your body follows like this, so to say, right? So it's not pam, pa, pa. You don't sit again on this, right? Yeah. So I think it's nice to sit as if you would go with the feet down, and then very relaxed, so that it's so that you avoid this. Yeah, can you just try? Yes, and here, okay, and here that's exactly what I said in the prelude also. I think you can shape your sound differently. I would play this chord also with more weight, more richness in the sound, so, bridge, everything we've been talking about in the prelude. Here, just go for it, and then lighter. You know where I play? I play the chord more or less here, and then I go up here, so that I hear 1, 2. Yeah? Yes! Exactly. That's something. Yeah. I think we already have to stop, but I think you got the idea, and yeah, it was a big pleasure to work with you. Really, the way you react, the way you play it, it's great. Really, bravo. And I hope that you got now some new ideas and inputs to support those coming weeks. You also have lockdown, right? And I see the mask and everything. It's still gonna take some time, but maybe, hopefully, you can, discover, escape the reality with Bach and this sound universe we have been talking about.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you very much, bravo, and we'll see you in a few minutes. I think Antons is coming afterwards. Great. Yeah. Okay, so see you in a couple of minutes. Yeah. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.